Good afternoon and welcome to our food challenge informational. For those of you that weren't able to make our in-person event, I did go ahead and decide to record these slides for you so you can go back and watch it whenever you are available. So prior to even starting any type of food challenge practice, going to club meetings, anything like that, everyone does need to be enrolled on 4-H Online. So you can see the link there. Just go there, and if you already have a family profile, just re-log in and re-enroll. If you are new to 4-H, you'll create a family profile, and then you'll be able to add yourself as a volunteer and your children as members of the 4-H program. If you are going to serve as a coach, a volunteer, a leader, anything like that within the 4-H program, we do need you as an adult to also enroll within the program. This helps keep y'all covered under our insurance if anything were to happen at a 4-H related event. So the quick basics of Food Challenge, I'll give you a brief overview, and then hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll understand a little bit more about how Food Challenge works. But with Food Challenge, it is a 3 to 4 member team. All kids on that team need to be within the same age division. So if you're a junior, third to fifth, intermediate, sixth through eighth, or high school or seniors, which would be ninth through 12th. The only team age divisions that can compete up are going to be juniors competing with intermediates if you don't have enough juniors to create a team. So your team has 40 minutes to cook and clean up after cooking a recipe. So they're given one key ingredient, and the remainder of the ingredients must be purchased from the grocery store the day of the contest using their contest currency. There will be no free items at the grocery store except for water. So the setup of Food Challenge is a lot like Guy's Grocery Store Games or Iron Chef. The kids are given one ingredient. Based on that ingredient, they go purchase some more items from the grocery store at the contest. And then with those ingredients from the grocery store and their key ingredient, they create one recipe that they will then present to a set of judges, going over some different stuff like My Plate, the Fight Back brochure, knowing your nutrients, and then some different food safety that they came across during their prepping, as well as a cost analysis and a serving size. So, for those of you that weren't able to compete in our food challenge contest last year, we do have updated categories, which are appetizers. So, that's going to be your smaller dish that's served before your main dish. So, that's going to be like your fried pickles, mozzarella sticks, anything like that that you order from restaurants. Then we have main dish, which is usually the heaviest and heartiest and most substantial dish to the meal. So, that's going to be your entree that you order at restaurants. Then you have your side dish, which is usually food that is paired along the main dish. So that could be something like mac and cheese, fried rice, anything like that. And then our last category is healthy dessert, which is the dish that follows up your 3-course meal at this point, or 2-course meal, or is served for special occasions. So that could be anything like a healthy alternative to a s'more, a fruit dip, anything like that. So again, the new categories are appetizer, main dish, side dish, and healthy dessert. So as I mentioned, the key ingredient, the kids will, or the team will receive a key ingredient with their contest category. And that key ingredient will represent one of the categories. So for instance, if they are in healthy dessert, they could get something like granola. If they are in main dish, they might get a chicken breast. If they are in an appetizer, they might get something like a tortilla. So based on that one ingredient and then what they purchase from the grocery store, they have to create a recipe that falls within that category. So, in order to do that, you have everything that you would need possible to cook a recipe for the contest. Each team will have their own supply box, and I know it's a little difficult to read everything that's in the supply box on this little screen, but you can find the resources to this on our county webpage as well, which is where you will find this recording. So with the supply box, they did make a few updates. No longer will it be a gadget of the year. Used to, the committee would add in one extra item that they could use. The past 2 years, it's been a spiralizer, and before that, it's been a melon baller. But this past year, the committee decided to go ahead and scratch that idea, so that is no longer in there. However, they did make a few additions to the supply box. So you can have a few extra bowls, some more cutting boards, a few more knives, a manual pencil sharpener, and 2 pancake turners versus the one you used to have, And then your serving dishes, those have been added. You've had one added to there. And then toothpicks to kind of go with your tasting spoons, or if you need to put it in something to um, hold something together, something like that. So with the supply box, everything that they would need to create their recipe is in this box. These are the only items they can use. They are able to bring some pantry items with them. So that'll be salt and pepper, oil up to 17 ounces, 1 jar of chicken bouillon, 1 medium onion, two 14-ounce canned vegetables or fruit. That is completely up to you. Your team can choose one fruit, one vegetable, two vegetables, two fruits, whatever you're feeling. And then they can also have rice, brown or white, or pasta. So that's again going to be a team choice. And oftentimes, since these pantry items are now in your supply box, they most likely will not be readily available at the grocery store the day of the contest. So I keep saying grocery store. So what does that look like? So the teams will have access to a grocery store for any additional ingredients, which they should combine with their key ingredient. So typically at the district contest or at the San Angelo Stock Show, there is a wide variety of items for the kids to choose from fresh produce to canned milk to oatmeal, anything like that. So the grocery store items will include items commonly found in a grocery store. It's not going to be anything that's just crazy off the wall that we found one time that your kids will never hear of. Like I said, it'll be fresh produce, some kind of canned either vegetables, tomato sauce, something like that. And the teams must use at least 2 additional items from the grocery store on top of their key ingredient. Keep in mind that you also have those items in your supply box that you can use, the onion, the bouillon powder, anything like that. And then the day of the contest, they'll receive some type of contest currency. It could be poker chips, it could be laminated paper. And based off the amount they're given, that is how much they are able to spend at the grocery store. So I'm sure your first question is, well, how will they know how much those items cost? So each team also receives, when they receive their key ingredient and their category, they'll receive a receipt of everything that is in the grocery store. And it'll list out exactly what's in the grocery store, how much you get, and how much it's going to cost. So this will also help them do their cost analysis later on while they're preparing their dish. So preparation, as I mentioned, the team will have 40 minutes to create an entire dish/recipe, not a full meal. Dishes and recipes should be created for 2 or more servings, and teams are responsible for determining the number of servings. Teams should not create side dishes or multiple dishes. So when your team creates the recipe, they always need to make sure to plate 2 or more servings. And again, that is completely up to them to decide what a serving is. Typically, a good rule of thumb is a fourth to a half cup of whatever you're making. But when we have some county practices, we'll work through some different serving sizes and what your best bet is. So cleanup, we always have a few teams that struggle with this part of the food challenge contest. Teams must clean up their prep area during their 40 minutes of cooking. They don't get additional time to clean up. It all has to be done within that 40 minutes. And so if they have like a hot plate that is still hot, they can leave that on top of their table, but everything else must be put away and cleaned up. So for attire, hair restraint, and gloves, so gloves do not have to be worn throughout the contest. However, proper hand sanitizing techniques will be required and expected throughout the contest. If your team decides to wear gloves, they must be changed between handling raw meats or seafoods, handling cooked items, and handling any ready-to-eat items or raw vegetables to help prevent cross-contamination. For the younger ones, I know it's really hard to find some gloves that fit them. So if you can't find gloves for them and they don't want to wear gloves, please make sure that they understand how important using hand sanitizer is throughout that 40 minutes. During that 40 minutes, they will be watched by probably 2 or 3 judges, just making notes about some different food safety stuff that might have gone wrong. And oftentimes, teams will lose points in the gloves or hand sanitizer department. If you have gloves on and you reach into your box, change your gloves. If you don't have gloves on, but you reach into your box, make sure to use hand sanitizer after that. If you ever question whether you should change your gloves or use hand sanitizer again, I would say go ahead and do it. Make sure you have plenty of gloves if y'all choose to wear them in your box so the kids don't run out. The next item is hair restraints. Everyone must wear some type of hair restraint. It is not enough to just pull your hair back in either French braids, a bun, anything like that. You will need to either wear a hairnet, a hat, or any other type of restraint, which could be a bandana, a chef's hat, anything like that. It just makes sure keeping all the flyaways out of their face and out of their food. For attire, teams have the option of wearing coordinating clothing or aprons, but they do not have to. Sometimes we'll have teams purchase some chef coats, new aprons, anything like that. But each team member must wear closed-toed shoes and a hair restraint. So back to those hair restraints, they are required, as well as closed-toed shoes. So for the presentation, what is included? So your team, after they've created this recipe, they now have to give a 5-minute presentation to a set of judges that covers their knowledge of my plate, nutrition knowledge, food prep, food safety concerns, serving size, and cost analysis. So those first few parts, those resources are readily available to the kids day of contest and leading up to contest. They will have those at every single practice. So by the end of food challenge season, they should really know some stuff about my plate, nutrition, simple food prep stuff, and then some simple food safety concerns as well. So after following your presentation, you will have a 3-minute Q&A session with the judges, and their questions can be really just about anything related to general nutrition, health, chronic diseases, some type of healthy substitution, anything like that. So the cost analysis, this is one of the harder parts we have for our younger kids. So trying to figure out what is a part of it. So it's going to be the price of the key ingredient and the grocery store items that were purchased by the team. So the teams will calculate that cost based on the amount of ingredients used. And then they'll find the cost for the full recipe as well as the cost per serving. So as I mentioned, when they receive that grocery list, it'll have all of the items on there, all of the however much they cost. It'll have the cost of the key ingredient as well. So it could be a chicken breast for $1.99, a tomato for 50 cents, an apple for $1. And then based on how much they use of that ingredient, that is how they figure out the cost for their entire recipe. And then depending on how many servings they say it serves, they would just divide it by that amount. So we've talked a lot about what kind of food challenge looks like. So what are they scored on? So they're scored on 2 different parts. The first part is the preparation. So during that 40-minute prep, the judges will be walking around, watching the teams, looking for any food safety problems, how they're working as a team, communication, anything like that. So that first 40 minutes is worth 25 points. And then they're judged on their presentation. So that's going to be that 5-minute presentation plus the 3 minutes of question and answers with the judges. And that is worth a total of 75 points. So prior to us being able to set up any type of practices for the county, we do need some team information for y'all. So please fill out the below form by October 1st. With that information, I'll better know the age divisions of our kids and stuff like that. So some different deadlines and dates. We are hosting an invitational food challenge contest. It'll be held at the First Financial Pavilion on this fairgrounds. The deadline to register for that is November 1st, and it'll be a $40 per team. You can register for that right now on our county webpage. It is open to the first 50 paid teams. So if you are not one of those, there is a chance you might not be able to participate in this contest. So I would suggest getting registered as soon as possible. Our county contest will most likely be in December. I don't have a date selected just yet for it, but we'll hold one then. And then district registration is due November 30th. It'll be $40 per team again through the county webpage. And again, that contest will be January 26th at the San Angelo Fairgrounds, held in conjunction with the San Angelo Stock Show Food Challenge like it has been in the past. So if y'all have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Send me an email, text, give me a call, anything like that, and I will try to answer to the best that I can. So a lot of our stuff happens on our county webpage, so make sure to go visit that. If you don't have my email, it's haley.meyer@ag.tmu.edu. And then the best phone number at the office is going to be 325-659-6522. I look forward to hearing from y'all.